My name's Kaitlyn Carr-Kiprotich. I am now a Portland-based artist. I was living in Seattle last year, which is how I came across this opportunity in Kent. I studied art in my undergrad, earned my BFA from Oregon State University, go Beavs. I'm teaching middle school and high school art, loving every minute of it, trying to do the art thing on the side. I always had a really creative side, and I actually had a high school art teacher that really pushed me to pursue art. And I've had mentors throughout different colleges that I went to, pushed me to find my way and to better myself in the practice. And it's something that I personally find really important because it's an outlet for me. It's not just making work to get into shows. It's more of something that makes me happy and that helps me kind of process some of these complex things that I'm thinking about in my work. I usually always start with an image in my mind of the composition, and then I'll draw it out and I'll get all the details figured out, and then the cutting of the paper. And so that's a really tedious process because I'll trace over my drawing and then I'll overlay the tracing paper on some scrapbooking paper. I use just simple scrapbook paper straight from the craft store for different patterns or different colors. And then it's a process of layering and gluing it together. I've come up with sort of a really weird, complex way to get all these pieces to overlap so that there's not the underlying layers showing through the top layers. And so it's almost like a puzzle that I'm putting together on the paper. The title of the work is called Navigating Race and Ethnicity. And it started as a response to me co-experiencing or even partially experiencing some racism with my husband, who is African. This was a way for me to just sort of process these little snippets of racism that I was experiencing as a white person. Obviously, I'm not a person of color. I can't fully ever experience racism, but this was just sort of my way of processing some of these really complex, big issues that I see my husband going through on a day-to-day basis. And so this sort of just started as a really meditative process of me going into the studio quietly, just sitting there cutting paper really tediously. It gives me a lot of time to think. And so now it's developed into more of daily snapshots of our life. And so I really like to leave my voice out of it and just show little snippets of our lives, like getting new cats or signing house paperwork. And so the viewer gets to decide what that meaning is to them. So it's a lot of me processing some internal thoughts within the studio, but then the result is very mundane and pretty open-ended so that the viewer can kind of bring their experiences to the work and be able to have their opinion on it. I'm making this work as a direct response to things that I'm experiencing in my personal life to hopefully open up the space to have those kind of conversations, no matter what your background is.
Centennial Gallery is located at 400 West Gowe Street, next to Kent City Hall. Sponsored by Kent Arts Commission.